Hi YouTube, please give me a moment while I connect to Facebook. We'll be getting started momentarily here. And I think we should be live on Facebook. Hi everybody, welcome to the weekly video that I do every week, the Strategic Swing Trader. I am Sami Abusad, Director of Education at T3 Live. Hope you're doing well. Before we start, as always, a standard required disclaimer to let you know that trading is risky and that whatever we discuss is for educational purposes only. If you'd like to download a copy of my free ebook, link for that is in the description below the video. But without further ado, let's get started. We're going to talk about some swing ideas. We're also going to talk about the market. So here we go. If you find benefit in today's video, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. Also, if you have any questions for us, reach out by emailing customer service info@t3live.com. Again, info@t3live.com. All right, here we go. We got the market, just as discussed last week, all out bearish bias. We talked about how the uptrend is over now. We have a lower high right here, lower than the prior high. And then once we broke under this pivot low here, we also have a lower low. So you have a lower low and a lower high and a weekly sell setup. So we are in an all-out downtrend on every time frame, and the bias should be going forward bearish. Okay, last week in particular was a bit choppy. If you look at the entire range of last week, I mean, it was just sideways, so more or less, but it's bearish, and I have a lot of confidence in this pivot holding, meaning even if we attempt to go higher, I don't think we're going to be taking out this pivot. Okay, so that's my line in the sand. As long as we stay below it, I am going to be bearish. Okay, and then it looks like we're headed towards 280 as the next stop. We got to support last week. That's probably why it got a little bit choppy. But again, eventually I think 280, and then who knows after that. But for now, going forward, my bias will remain bearish. Now, in terms of the swing ideas, here's what I got for you. I posted my complete watch list for tomorrow in the description. But here is the items that I'd like to go over that I think are look a little bit more ready than the rest of them. Okay, so here we go. ADGI. Look at the hourly chart. Look at the daily. That looks pretty good for a breakout. Completely unaffected by the market. That's because it's therapeutics. Sometimes a lot of the pharmaceutical, biotech, therapeutic stocks don't. I mean, they're on their own because they're developing a drug, they're developing a therapy, and regardless of what the market does, they're just going to do their thing. So this is one of those things that I think is on its own page. Looks pretty good. Long over the base, stop under about 440 on the ADGI. Target maybe $7 at least. AVYA, it triggered already last week, and but it still is not too late. It does need to take out 202, and then stop can be at 120, or tighter stop would be under this pivot around 145. So it still looks good, but it's a little bit late. BHC, I tried it short here and it didn't work. Now it has kind of a 1, 2, 3. So I like it higher over 675. The stop is what's tricky about it. Where do we put the stop? Do we put it under just this little red bar and use the tight stop, or do we give it more room and put it under this big green bar at 573? That's what I would do. Bigger stop, but much more secure. And target 1 is going to have to be about 875 on the BHC. Next on the list is blue, and blue is another biotech or pharma, I'm not sure, probably biotech. And notice the daily uptrend. Notice how it's staying above the 20, and it just crossed over the 200 MA. So I like it higher over that doji bar, it's not a doji bar, but over the bar with the tails. Stop can be as tight as just under Friday's low, which is 629, and the entry would be over 706. But I would just give it to the bottom of the base to be sure, to be safe. Okay, so I don't think it could easily take this out, but it can easily take out Friday's low, you know, and so I don't want to use a tighter stop on this, okay, or a tight stop. So I like the blue higher. BNED, I played it short as an earnings play, and I shorted it. It gapped down 20% or so, and then it got bought that day. So I gave back most of the money on it, I think. But look at how bullish it is. This is Barnes and Noble. It's pretty bullish. Long over 276. Stop under 240. The target, this is the tricky part, is do we take a small target at 319, or do we, you know, look for the big target around 425 or so? So that's the tricky part about it. But the entry is not tricky at all. It's over here, stop right here, okay? If we look at the hourly chart, that looks beautiful too. Just over this high right here, stop down here. So it looks beautiful. The target on this is a little bit more difficult. CYTK is at the all-time high. I mean, I don't know if it's at the all-time high, but it's, yeah, it is. No, it's not at all-time high. As you can see, the all-time high is like at $100. This bar's high, the red bar's high is $57. So it's actually at some resistance. But the bullishness is undeniable. Look at the triple top that we have on the daily chart. So just over it, long, over Friday's high, stop right here. It's an idea, it's a big stop, but it's incredibly bullish. CYTK. FUTU is a China stock that looks like it's bottomed. Look at the weekly chart. Beautiful. Ended the downtrend, is no longer putting in lower highs and lower lows, right? It's not putting in lower highs, lower lows anymore. You know, it's not doing that anymore. So what is it doing? It's actually ended the downtrend, and it put in a higher low, higher high than the prior high. And now I'm looking at it as a weekly 1, 2, 3. So long over 50-60. Stop under 42.55. Huge stop, but it's a long-term play. Okay, another China stock is Momo, but it doesn't look as good on the weekly. It looks really good on the daily. So the entry for this would be over the high right here, whatever the highest point is, and it should be this bar's high, 540, stop under 475. Target maybe about this bar's high, at least for target 1, 665. Okay, the strongest China stock, Chinese company that I know of is PDD, but it's too far gone. It's exactly like the FUTU on the weekly chart. Well, you know, it's the same idea. Was in a long-term downtrend, and as you can see, the downtrend is over. So it looks higher, but it's too far gone. So it's too late. Look at the daily chart. It's way up. In the last maybe week and a half, it didn't double, but it's getting there almost. So PDD is too late, and that's why I think from the remaining China stocks that are not too late, FUTU looks the best. Okay, so that's my bullish list. Let's switch over to the bearish items. Not as many items bearish, even though I'm bearish on the market. I, in theory, would like to be more focused on the shorts, but the truth is, the vast majority of the open plays that I have are short. AFRM looks good short. Under the base, stop above it. Okay? The issue with the AFRM is it doesn't have a ton of room. So short under the base right here, stop right here, and then where's the target? Right there? That's not a lot. So it doesn't have a lot of room, I think, but it looks really good. DNA is a base breakdown after a base breakout failure. This is a base breakout right here, and it failed. So now we have a base breakdown. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. See if weekly chart looks pretty good. Notice again the base breakout failure, that is. The stock was basing, broke out, and now it looks lower. So under the weekly bar's low, stop above it. Looks really good. DNA. MDB is a daily 1, 2, 3. So short under this bar's low, stop above it. So 235.20 by 254.35. It's like a $20 stop. It's exactly like the Domo, which is an open position in the newsletter, in my own account too. Is a 1, 2, 3 after a professional gap down. Okay, looks good. It's like the Sono also, but this has been an open position for 2-3 weeks. That was actually more of a base breakdown. The initial gap down 1, 2, 3, but it didn't trigger, didn't trigger, and then finally triggered short. You see what I mean? So it's the same idea, and I like it a lot. Just under Friday's low, stop above it. The biggest problem with the MDB is the support below. It's not too far below. Maybe 1-to-1 to target 1. RIOT, if you're bearish on Bitcoin, RIOT looks lower. Under the base, stop above it. Okay? On RIOT. I like it a lot. There's a 1, 2, 3 on the weekly chart too. It's a sell setup plus an igniting bar, a doji bar, and then hopefully continuation to the downside. It'll be a 1, 2, 3. And then SCSC had the gap down, and it's had a base, so it's like Sono. That's so I know that I showed you, but it's much more sloppy. So I'm not ready to short it, but it looks good. Just needs to break under about 28 bucks, under that big green bar's low, 28.18. Stop is gonna be over about 29.31. Okay, so it's about $1.12 or so, 15 cents. But I don't think it's quite ready. But I'm watching it. At any rate, I posted the complete watch list for tomorrow in the description of the video, so make sure to grab that because there's some really nice ideas. What I do is I have the complete watch list. I pick my favorites because that's where the plays come from initially, but then throughout the day, just a couple times during the day, I scan the complete list to see what has transpired, what's setting up, what should be deleted, and I clean up my watch list one or two times during the day, and if there's any new plays, then I take a shot at him. All right, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm Sami Absad with T3 Live. Good trading, everybody. Take care.